Hello and welcome to Top Story. Nearly 3 decades after the Cambodian genocide, the bloody spectre of the Khmer Rouge still haunts the country. The regime's top surviving leader has been charged with war crimes and crimes against humanity by a UN-backed tribunal. Nuon Chea, now 82, was Pol Pot's number 2. He was allegedly a key architect of the mass killings. Up to 2 million Cambodians died of starvation, disease and overwork, or were summarily executed. Like other surviving leaders, Nuon Chea lived freely for years in Cambodia and showed no remorse for his past. So, is this a victory for international justice or too little too late? To answer that, I'm joined now by Christine Chaumeau, a Southeast Asia specialist at the French magazine Courrier International. Thank you very much for joining us on Top Story. Nuon Chea has been living freely for a long time. Why now?
I mean, actually, the UN-backed tribunal, it has taken very long time and very long contentious negotiation before it was finally set up last year. So, and during the year that has just elapsed since the beginning of the tribunal, I think it's not too late, it's not too long. I mean, the tribunal was just formed a year ago, and they just charged and arrested Nuon Chea yesterday. So it's all right.
Of course, the risk is that he'll die, and the other leaders are also very old now. He's 82 and frail.
Yeah, but I think he's. I mean, I met him last year in September in his wooden house by the Thai border in Pailin. And yeah, he's frail, he's an elderly man, 82 years old, as you said, but I think he's really keen on speaking and on telling what he wants to tell, his view of the story of the Khmer Rouge.
So tell us about your meeting with him. What was he like?
I mean, he was very... I mean, first I met him in 2000 and then just last year, and he's quite happy to talk and to really... argue the fact that the Khmer Rouge were, took over the power in 1975 and just to protect their country from foreign invasion, i.e. the Vietnamese that were just next door and with whom they were enemy. For a long time. So,
but I mean, is he living in a different planet because he claims that killing fields were a fiction and he doesn't believe that these executions happened, or what?
Yeah, I mean, he believes that there were parts, some wrongdoings and some killings, but he denies any mass killings and any mass wrongdoings from the regime. I mean, he says that those people who were killed were the enemy of the regime, but he denies any intention of having a genocide taking place in Cambodia, basically.
And what's the likely reception to that from judges at this tribunal?
I mean, it's up to them to decide. I'm not a jurist, but I would say that they have strong. I mean, there are strong evidence of documents that were sent to Nuon Chea in which it was described and it was asked instruction of what to do with certain type of people, and in some instances he signed orders of execution. So
that's according to Dutch, who's the other senior leader that has been charged, isn't that right?
Exactly. I mean, Dutch was directly in charge of a major detention center in Phnom Penh, in the capital, Phnom Penh. Tuol Sleng, or S21.
Infamous prison, yeah.
Exactly. And Nuon Chea was directly in contact with Duc.
Let's move on to more sociological issues. Are Cambodians ready to face this past, given that most families lost somebody? It was such a huge thing.
Yeah, I think... I mean, it's depending on how old you are in Cambodia, because most of the country is now I mean, a vast majority of Cambodians are below 25, so they have no idea. I mean, they have not lived during the Khmer Rouge, and at school they are not taught about the Khmer Rouge. So what they hear about Khmer Rouge, it's from here to mouth, from their parents' stories, and for them it's really the past. For the young generation, it's really the past. But for their parents and for the young, I mean the older, the people who are 30s or 40s years old and who lived or who were very young at the time, it's important for them to have Khmer Rouge leader being faced with the truth and being in the dock and being in the courtroom and telling what happened and why. I think it's very important.
The government, though, doesn't seem to have been very keen to bring these cases to court because, of course, it actually sheltered these former leaders in northern Cambodia for many years.
Yeah, I mean, even myself, I was very, very unconvinced that the trial would take place at any time because, as you said, the Cambodian government was, I mean, dragging his feet for a long period of time before he actually agreed for a tribunal to take place. But I think now with this really very important step forward, I mean, Nuon Chea being charged and detained, it's there. I mean, now nothing can happen. I mean, even if he dies in detention, I mean, actually has been charged. So,
okay, what does this mean for universal justice? There was a lot of disappointment when the cases of Slobodan Milosevic and Augusto Pinochet never came to a conclusion. How important is this?
I mean, I think in terms of international justice, we have tried different models, and the ICTY to judge the crime in ex-Yugoslavia or in Rwanda were set up as ad hoc tribunals, and that was an example, a model that was very important at that time. But now we have seen that justice needs to take place closer to where the crime actually took place, and there need to be a local implication. So that's why there is this UN mixed tribunal with lots of Cambodian judges and jurists within that tribunal, as in Sierra Leone. I mean, in terms of international justice, we have a pattern of different type of tribunal that we can use and that can play differently depending on the crimes and the place.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, that's all we've got time for today. That was Christine Chaumeau from the Courrier International magazine in Paris, talking about Cambodia's attempt to face its bloody past. And that's all for Top Story today. Do join us at the same time tomorrow.